Hey guys, today we're going over my SHTF battle rattle. Now why do I have this and why should you too? Simple. When disaster strikes, violence can lurk behind every corner you turn, and law enforcement probably isn't going to have that capability to respond when stuff's going haywire. As a prepper, you have to understand that and you have to give yourself every edge possible to survive any violent encounter thrown your way. This setup is part of my solution to deal with those violent encounters. Now, real quick, before we jump into this setup, I do want to point out all of these firearms you're going to see, they have already been cleared. They've been rendered safe before we started filming today. Also, all these magazines you've seen here do not contain ammunition currently. Nothing on this table in front of us in this room today is dealing with live ammunition, so all safety precautions have been taken. Now that I've said that and we've gotten that out of the way, let's jump into the gear. The first thing that I'm going to go with here and I want to talk about is my battle belt. This is a pretty simple setup. It's just the Tacticon battle belt. I've done a review on it as well. I'll drop the link down in the description below if you're wanting to check that out. On my TacCon battle belt, I'm running on the right side, so this currently would sit on my hip. On my right side, where it's accessible with either hand, a tourniquet. Behind that, I'm running my holster. Currently, I run a Safariland drop leg just because me being a short guy, if I carry it on the actual belt, it gets too high up with the plate carrier, so that drop leg helps me get it down just enough so it's out of the way and I can clear my carrier easy. This is using that flex leg drop adapter and it's one strap. On there, I'm currently running a T-Rex Arms Kydex Ragnarok holster. I also do from time to time run a Safariland SLS holster, and I do have the QLS fork on here so I can switch back and forth as needed. The big thing with this holster that I really like is I do run M&P 2.0s. And that is not, unlike a Glock, you can't find the holsters for those as much. And with this particular holster, I can run my long slide, my standard size, which is what's in here, or my compact version. I don't even have to switch out the holsters. All I have to do is pop this guy out and I can drop in my long slide or my shorter slide and they will both ride in this holster just fine. So it's a really big advantage to kind of give me that flexibility depending on what gun I need or what gun I'm currently planning on carrying if I'm wearing this belt. Behind there, I do have this big empty space. Why is this empty? Well, at some point, this is going to be inhabited by a first aid kit. I have not currently picked out the first aid kit that I'm going to be dropping here. I've tested a couple different ones. I personally have not found one that I've really liked. So, if that's something you happen to have suggestions on or any input, I'm always happy to hear it. Drop it down in the comments below if you have anything that you want me to check out, and maybe I'll test it out and see how it works for this belt. Next thing there is my Condor dump pouch. This dump pouch is just a dump pouch. It's convenient. It's good to have something like this on your belt. You can drop partial magazines in there if you don't have time to re-index them in a situation, or if you have other stuff that you need to pick up, just toss it in there and then get back rocking and rolling as you're moving through. In front of there, I carry one AR magazine, and it's just, reverse index, so I can grab it real easy, pop it in if I have to reload from the belt. In front of there, I'm only carrying one pistol magazine. I know a lot of guys carry 2 or 3 pistol mags, but realistically, it's already a pretty bad day if I've gone to a pistol when I'm carrying a rifle. So I don't personally carry that many pistol mags, and it's just not something I anticipate changing. If you have different experiences, again, drop it down in the comments below, but personally, I'm sticking with the one there. So I'm running a real slimline belt setup. Works great under my carrier, and it's relatively comfortable to wear. I've been really happy with it so far. Next thing I'm going to go over is the plate carrier. Now, for my plate carrier here, I have something that I kind of like to point out, and that is my magazine setup in particular. You've seen how other people have their plate carrier set up. For example, Grand Thumb's one that you've probably all seen if you're looking at gear reviews and you're looking at gear setups. And this is kind of similar to what he did. So I'm running 3 slimline pouches up here. These are just an elastic retention pouch. So when the magazine comes out, pouch goes flat. Magazine can get reinserted and it re-expands and grips around the magazine. So I have these 3 up front. So if I'm not wanting to run a full 6 mags up front, I can slim this down and only be running 3 versus, situations where you want that extra ammo, you can run full 6. Behind there, I'm just running some standard Condor single M4 magazine pouches with the straps on top. So at this point, no HSGI tacos or, any other fancy magazines back here like the Kiwis. Just simple straps on top. I'm used to it. I'm comfortable with it. That's what I'm running at the moment. Now, if I go to the right from there, I'm running a small utility pouch. Now, in this pouch, I'm only keeping the items that I absolutely need access to without having to get into the backpack. So up here, I do carry just some really simple stuff. carry a headlamp, because even if it's the middle of the day, you never know when we're going to end up in some place like a building that's dark as crap if stuff's going south. So I carry this up here as that good source of light. And then I carry my spare radio battery for my radio I have over here we'll get to later. And I carry spare sets of batteries for the headlamp and spare sets of batteries for my TLR1s I run on my handguns and for my rifle lights. So those are all up here. And then in the front here, I do carry a little boo-boo kit. So just some Band-Aids, antiseptic ointment, things like that. Just that little stuff you want where if you cut yourself and you're in a hurry, you just grab it out real quick, wrap a Band-Aid and get going. Because the last thing you want to do is in the middle of a situation, cut yourself, you're bleeding all over, and then you're bleeding on somebody else that's bleeding, or you're getting that wound infected with somebody else's blood. So having that up here just to wrap a real quick Band-Aid and clean out a quick cut, really convenient. That's where I personally keep it. Next to there, this one's a soft T tourniquet. I'm familiar with these and the cats, so I'm comfortable carrying either, using either. I've been trained on how to use either of them. So I'm just carrying this up here. This is just carried actually in a flashlight pouch, but I've noticed these work really well if you're carrying tourniquets, so that's what I actually use for any of my tourniquets I mount on a vertical orientation. So it's just sitting right here, real easy to rip out if I need it, but also maintained secure. Still far enough forward as well to clear my plate carrier with my handgun, so there's no interference from these. I know it's a little weird for some people to have stuff on their side with their primary sidearm, but it's comfortable and I haven't had any issues with it, and it stays out of the way. Moving back from that here, on the back, this is just a IDO gear small camelback backpack that is MOLLE mounted to the back of the carrier. With this, it's just really simple. This is just a small sustainment pack. This isn't going to be a bug out bag size pack. For me, this is just enough that I can have on where I can carry enough stuff to sustain myself for, about 24 to 36 hours if I have to. I also have a detached antenna mounted back here, so it's more out of the way. It's going to give me some better reception and range on the radio. In this pouch, I also carry 2 additional magazines, so if the 6 on front, the 1 in the belt, and the 1 in the gun isn't enough, I have 2 more back here I can go to and grab, toss up front for when I need them or just to replenish what's used up. How I use this pack personally is I don't keep anything in it. So I keep this flat, and then I keep Ziploc bags with everything in it. So I have Ziploc bags set up with rations. I have Ziploc bags set up with additional essentials like little survival gear, additional socks, basically anything you may need out in the field. So as needed, based off the situation, I can grab them and put them in this kit so I'm not carrying extra weight around with me all the time. And then moving forward from here, I have my wires routed for my speaker mic and my antenna going back through here under the cummerbund, going up to my radio. And now what I'm running for a radio here, it's just a Baofeng GMRS radio. These are great to have for practice. They're also pretty well ranged for if something does happen. So I'd look into these GMRS style radios by a company like Baofeng. They're cheap, easy to get a hold of. If you want to get properly licensed to use these in practice when things are normal, it's $35 for 10 years. You just have to deal with the FCC website. So I'd look at that, and then I'd always would have communications on your gear. From this radio as well, like I said, I have the speaker mic routed up here, and then I have a little mic jack cable here. So what I can do with this, I can plug this into my speaker mic, and then I can plug the other end into my electronic headwear, which usually I wear the Walker Razors. And those seem to work out pretty well. You just plug these in, then you can hear everything straight through your Hair Pro. It's that electronic ear pro, so it's also going to mute any sort of loud noises, but at the same time, you can even turn it up and amplify other sounds, so you can get a little bit more actually observation going on and hear a little bit better than maybe even just on your own. So that's what I'm running up here for my communications, hooked to my radio, and that's it. This is a relatively simple setup, plate carrier. It's comfortable. Like I said, it gives me that ability to really plus up or plus down. If you're looking for something more to use in a bug out situation, you may be wanting to look for something more like a chest rig that you could carry a larger Alice style rucksack with. But on the other hand, if you're looking for something that's more a little bit of that battle rattle type stuff, like I mentioned, plate carrier is a great option. It's going to give you a lot of capability to protect yourself, and it's going to give you a lot of capability to carry at least your core essentials you're going to need to fight if you have to. In this plate carrier as well, I do want to point out I'm running some Guard Dog level 4 ceramics. These are a lighter weight plate. I believe they come in at about 5.5 pounds a plate. Everything I've seen when I researched these plates and decided on them, they appear to be really good plates. They seem to hold up really well. You look around, you can find several different reviews on them. So that's what I'm currently running. I know there are more expensive options out there that are supposedly better rated, but overall it's a plate that I feel comfortable with and I think provides you a good degree of protection while still providing you light enough plates. If you had to hump this around, you can still hump this around for a while. Going over here, the next thing I have on my kit is going to be my rifle. Personally, I'm carrying a 11.5-inch, what's technically a AR pistol. Why am I carrying this particular one? Personally, I'm carrying this because I feel that in my situations, I'm more likely going to be encountering stuff within a couple hundred yards threat-wise. I'm not going out and trying to reach out across several hundred meters. I'm looking at being able to protect my homestead, protect my people, protect my family and friends. And a rifle this size for me is going to give me the right amount of maneuverability while still giving me enough range to reach out in there and do that. On my rifle, I run a Magpul AFG up front. So it's real simple. I just use this because I find it more comfortable with the grip. For a light, I'm running an Enforce weapons light. This is just the standard version, so this isn't the infrared version. It's just the normal white light version, but it throws out there great. It works well. If you do happen to be one of those people that have the luxury of running night vision, they do have lights out there that work with it. I know there also are other similar versions out there, like Streamlight makes a version, and then obviously you have the Surefire Scout, which is what you probably see as the most common out there if you're looking around online. But I've actually been really happy with these Enforce lights. It's held up well so far. I like how it is all one system. There's no remote pressure pad to have to worry about or zip tie on your gun somewhere. So that's what I'm currently running for a light. And again, that's something too I really wouldn't skip out on. So I wouldn't go and buy one of those $30 Walmart lights or some cheap Chinese junk off Amazon. Buy an Enforce or buy a Streamlight. If you really want to step up and buy a Surefire, just buy something that's a decent quality that you can find good reviews on, it's been proven. And don't even take my word for it. There are plenty of other people out there who will point these lights out and talk about how good they've used them. Next thing I'm running here on this rifle is an Aimpoint Pro. So when I looked around at red dots, there's a lot of different options out there, and you do have some cheaper options out there as well. But what really drew my attention to the Pro, and why I think this is the best optic to run on your kit, if you're looking at building out a kit for shit hits the fan, is going to be the Pro. This runs at about $450 as a red dot, so you know, it's more in that mid-range to, in some people's budget, a high-range red dot, and I think it's worth it. It's worth every penny. This is an always-on optic, so there's no shake-awake crap you're dealing with. It's just always on, ready to go. As soon as you shoulder it, that dot's right there in front of you, and if you keep it on level 7, I believe, with these, I have to double-check the manual, but I believe it's level 7. That's going to be your default setting. That'll give you about a 30,000-hour battery life. So realistically, you can leave this red dot on and change your battery out about once every 3 years. I'd recommend making it instead something that you change out every 6 months to a year just to be on the safe side, because as you're going out in the range, you're using this in brighter lights, you're going to turn that red dot up. That's going to reduce your battery life. So last thing you want to do is go shoulder your rifle and have your red dot dead. But with these, though, they definitely are something you're going to get some long battery life out of, and it's going to be durable as well. So it's something I wouldn't skimp on, and I would look at purchasing something like the Pro for your rifle. And then I just run some Magpul furniture back here. So just basic Magpul, front and back flip-up sights, and Magpul grip. And again, just SIG pistol brace. And then for me personally, I am running a 1-point sling. So I know you have 2-point, 3-point options. From what I've seen, I would avoid the 3-point options. There's a little bit too much complexity to them. They tend to not really work too well from what I've seen when people are running them that I've worked with and trained with. Now, 1-point slings and 2-point slings, they both have their pros and cons. 2-point sling is going to keep it more secure to your body. To me, a 1-point sling, the way I have this rifle set up, is just more convenient. This is something I could throw really easy on and off, whether I'm wearing the belt or I'm wearing this. I just like how it stores on the rifle, and it's just what I happen to be comfortable with. But I definitely do your own testing and decide if you like 1-point or 2-point better. So this is my 2022 gear setup. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in. Hit that like and subscribe button. Have a wonderful rest of your day.